gentlemen, thank you very much. Coach Muhsin Ertugral joining us. We thank you for your time, Coach. Sure. And members of the media, if you are ready, we're good to go. It's timed for about 12 minutes. It's enough for feedback from the coach. Coach, you're starting. You have obviously some memories of your times at Kaizer Chiefs, and here you are coming and getting a point, taking it away to Cape Town. Your summary of what happened tonight.
There's always great memories.
Yes, Coach.
It will never be, let me say, out. It's always to see the color makes me always happy. And from here, my regards to the chairman, which we all love, and hope to see him very soon and pay him very soon, maybe in the FIFA week, a visit to pay my respect to him. Like it's because all those years I couldn't come. So to the game. We know that what kind of quality is in this team. By side, there's not linear with the team. So obviously the quality is there because we needed to look after our pockets, and they have a pattern that I call that the press traps. There are moments that we will jump out of defensive structure and try to pressurize. That moment. They use the pockets very, very well, extremely well, and you could see in the half space, especially of Sirino's side, you could see that where the danger started. But in the end, let's be really realistically on that. It is a lot of activity, it's a lot of action, but the chances was on our side, if I'm not mistaken. So we can say that as a when you look into the game, Amadou had a tool that was a one against the goalkeeper. Should have been on the half space, should have been a goal, for my opinion, at least a goal chance. There were a cadence situation once when he come through, the right pass could have been done, two players were inside just for tap-ins. Then obviously the biggest chance of the whole game, for my opinion, was the goal chance of Fortune. 1 against 1, totally true against the goalkeeper, so you put that in as the game totally different, and then I'm going to block the game even more. Games is not about having ball position, the game is about what's wrong. I mean, always here, yes, you have a defensive structure. What's wrong with good defensive structure? And I think obviously then here and there, then in the last 15 minutes, because of our changes, the changes came through, injuries, cramps, and then obviously the first 11 and then 2-3 changes obviously made the team then look very much going backwards, so to a low block. And then in the end, I gambled a bit, put a youngster in. That makes me very happy to see him in South African football, and this type of games he will grow. Even maybe is that we can discuss is not the game for him, but I think it's pretty much the game for him. With 16-year-old to see the intensity of the game, needs to find ways. It was a gamble for me, but I went that risiko in, and I think he will for the next game done even much better. All in all, obviously we're very happy to get the point here. But I think we could have gotten more from my viewpoint. I think we had great chances.
Thank you, Coach. Now, members of the media, it's your turn. Your name and name of your publication and the question. We've got a roving mic. There you go. There's a hand.
From Open Radio, Coach. Coach, looking at the game, we saw that you obviously defended a lot as well and were trying to catch them on the counter. And looking at the position that you mentioned, I think you had about 36% of the position, but you said that it's not about the position. It's been a while since your team has won a game. Is that perhaps a concern, and even goals as well? It's been a while since we've seen goals, or we've seen you win as well. If I'm not mistaken, the last time that you won was on the 17th of January. Is it a concern where your team is at the current moment?
It is a concern, of course. We can't be happy. This is obviously. Is there a possibility for us to play much more offensive? Now, when you look into the lineup today, we had Fortune back, which after a long injury. Then we have Tulani coming back from Emirates, and we have Mokocho. These are 3 ball players which can carry us actually 20 meters forward to provide those goal chances. But looking to the whole game structure, do we have enough goal chances, enough entries and goal chances created to score? I think these are the elements that we need to. If you don't have goal chances to score, then I would say, yeah, you're absolutely right. But I think the goal chances was created. In the end, the world football today, when you look into best teams in the world, not winning any trophies or any with a lot of ball positions. The last Euro has been a decent team, or the last World Cup won with team with less ball percentage. Our team is not a team that can actually be equal in ball position with Kaizer Chiefs. Because that's, the level of quality and the level of ball position is completely different, especially at home. So with the teams that we have tried, that we've been equal, that's where we actually failed. Against the big teams we played, against a couple of weeks ago against Orlando Pirates, we were actually very, very unfortunate to lose the game. And we scored, and then we hold the game, and I think I have a complete different view that what so-called experts have spoken about it. I think that game, the goal was offside, there was a red card, that game is completely in our side. So they scored from a corner, which obviously can be everyone's balls. Today we had also from the corners, I think 3 very, very good chances. As Kaizer Chiefs, we know that they're very good on standards doing. So to taking us in a low block, yes, it's sometimes it's a bit against these type of teams, yes. But when you play against the teams that have been at the same level with us, obviously need to have more ball positions. But go back to the oldest games we have played last couple of weeks. Maybe you have not seen the game against Galaxy last week. I think the team at the best, for my opinion, the best game that we played this season. And unfortunately, again, we had, I think, more than 30 entries. This is actually very, very heavy, and not only scoring 1 goal from it. So these are the elements that we need to look into. So obviously, we need to work more and more into it, but not every game we're sitting back. So we have played much more other games that we really dominated the game and attacked more from the wings and been stable in front. That was last week, before the week as well. But in the end, you need to get maximum points. That's you're right as saying that. So that worries me. We're not scoring enough.
Thank you, Vina. Good evening, Coach. No, poor freelancer journalist. Coach, the Serero sub, was it tactical? And then secondly, also still on Serero, how is he sort of settling in the team?
His personality, the way how he sees the game, obviously it was not tactical at all. He's not ready 100%. So I've given against Kaizer Chiefs in 45 minutes to really get the intensity right. So I told him that probably in halftime. The idea was actually getting later. Maybe that was a thing that I could fault myself on it. Bring him later on into the game, the last 20 minutes, half an hour. That would have maybe given us a little other elements. So these are elements that the decision you take as a coach. He comes on second half, would have probably find more outlets through him because he can hold on to the ball. He knows how to attack the lines, which is for us very much important. So obviously we started from him because he's still not ready, and I really fear that he could get injured because the intensity of these type games is too high. So obviously 45 minutes, and we have a very important game for us on Saturday. Obviously he will be in the lineup, and so more he plays, so more will also give us that element that we actually need to hold on to the ball so that we can 10-15 meters more go forward. That's what we're lacking it.
How much is the results reflective of, let's say, morale and confidence of this group of players? Because as you mentioned, in the games where you had more possession, more dominant on the front foot, they weren't creating as many chances, like besides the, let's say, the Marumo game. So how much is confidence and morale of the group affecting the overall results? And then secondly, what's the risk of putting in an instinctive player like a 17-year-old Betway from the start, for example?
No, you can't start him from the right in the beginning. First, the intensity is so high. The biggest problem of this type of youngsters getting in can be very, because we had the last game against Amazulu, I think, and put him in. We looked in the data, he had 200 pulse. So who is going to protect him then? Not me. So in the end, the intensity is also here very, very high. So also a very hard game. So this is a bit of a gamble that you play with a young boy like that, and you can also break him. I mean, I had Jabu with 17, if I'm not mistaken. I put also a lot of Tulani as well. His first game was with me against Orlando Pirates. And so these youngsters, you need to be mold them on the right way, and you need to be very careful in which games. But today I was not afraid to put him at all in. in a game like that where it could totally go wrong, for my opinion, he tried his best, but he needs also to learn how when the intensity comes in, how to hold on to the ball or position himself so that we can play. So he was always very tight marked and he could not escape in this. But I think this type of players we don't find a lot. When you see him, how he played against Amazulu and how when he comes on, what he does. But these are the games that we need to choose maybe better, from my opinion. And maybe these type of games damage more than you do actually more harm, and you do. So that's what I need to take the risk. Yeah, the chances we're creating a lot of chances. I think you have not seen the last game when you say that.
Confidence and morale.
Morale is very good, excellent. This is up to us from the technical side through the training session. Everything is on what you do in the sessions. So I found we have great youngsters. We have too many youngsters in one time, which for me is always a bit, yes, youngsters, yes, but also when now the experience comes in, you could see Camo, you could see Fortune, when they're in the game, they can hold on to the game longer, onto the ball longer. That gives us also elementary situation to go 10 meters forward. And it makes us then sustain the game. Yeah.
Evening, Coach. Kamkhalo Mokhale from VOW FM. Coach, 4 points, victory at home, draw today. I mean, of course, there have been games that you played in between after the game that you played at home against Kaizer Chiefs. But now, when you look at that particular game and also tonight's game, the comparison, the difference between the two teams, well, the difference between the team, the opponent that you played, what would you say is the difference?
I mean, I don't agree on points that sometimes I read about Kaizer Chiefs. I think the team has pretty much, very much, let me say, a team that can have the possibility to challenge. Also, I can't speak that from outside, only what we can analyze, I can see. There are a lot of moments, they use the pockets very well, but they're very, very vulnerable, for my opinion, because we were sitting the whole week and looking into that, and I know the team obviously very well, where we could hurt them. And the third man running was very much important. That's exactly that what we worked on Fortune. The movement of Fortune was exactly that the third man running that will hurt them. There was also Amadou played a role today, like he never went into the third line. He was always in front of the defensive line in diagonal form out. So that means when Amadou needed to have sometimes longer the ball on touch, and then he needed to supply the runners. He did that marvelously today. Obviously, then we lose the striker in build-up processes because he has to be also in the box, but he was then not in the box. He wasn't generally for us a player that came into the pockets or in front of the defensive line, which draw a centre back out or two centre backs out sometimes, and then that we find those runners, and these runners was actually very effective. Obviously, there is a lot of, let me say, ball distribution, a lot of things happening in the game. But from the clarity, we were always very dangerous on the right time with counter-attack. There was one situation with Darwin. He had the ball in a half space, and then he tried to shoot from an angle where just inside there were two players free. Just lay the ball on. It's just a tap-in. So maybe you guys have not seen that, but there are a lot of elements that stops in the last third, which they actually we failing. Not the defensive will be always under pressure, and when the goals that we conceded last times was from corners or from elements that actually we should be more concentrated on it. So, for my opinion, from the pattern we're using for the team is actually on the wings we're very quickly. We need to use Amadou a little bit better in certain build-up processes that he takes centre backs out so that we can play the runners, and the runners need to be 10 meters in moment forward line. But again, these are elements that you can play with players to have the possibility to hold on to. Thabo and Petrus, when we put them in, is like destroyers in the midfield. And so it was not more time for us to hold on to the ball because they also get tired. So then we put Thabo in and Petrus in, and they were destroying that everything what was happening in defensive line. So when Chiefs didn't have that much goal chances, for my opinion, there was a lot of pressure on us, but not that goal chance that you can say, yes, that should have been a goal. Petrus and Thabo has given us this 1-against-1 situation that we didn't win. So what was different I think Chiefs is getting much more element in attacking possibilities, but they're still very vulnerable at the back, for my opinion.
We will close it here if there is no...
There's not a negative part. So because if you play, because they pin you, sorry to you, when they pin you, they're playing a pin system, which is actually very good designed by the coach. So pinning means, like in chess, you can't move. You have practically two players, and the players can't move. So they're going to sit in the low block. That doesn't make us to come out. This is the quality of Chiefs. So these are elements that will get better when the time comes. I think very soon next season, when they can be a little bit more patient in there will be a team to force, very much a team is force.
Thank you, Coach. We'll close with the question from gentleman.
Thank you very much. To say it's on the way from City Press. Congratulations for the point, Coach. Capital City, almost every season, they at this time of the season, that's where they pick up and have a good finish. And you're going to have your work cut out this season. 6 points behind Kaizer Chiefs in 8th position. Does that put you, does that put you under a lot of pressure to make sure that you live up to the club's tradition for a lot of
no. Guys, these are all good points, all good moments that you're speaking about. Why did I came in first? The team was on the 12th position, only 3 victories. Yes, so now I need to stand and explain myself. This is not right. You guys need to do that, for my opinion. So this is not last season. This is this season. But let's go back. 1 season, 1 year, calendar year 24, whole year. How many games did City win? Do you know that? 7. Whole year. So we already won 3 and 3 draws. Percentage in 2 months. Not bad, I would say. So why did I come in? Because things were not right. And obviously my duty is as sportive director. I want to be influential in what we're going to do in next years. So when the management decides to bring somebody in, which had a pretty much pedigree, I think, seems to be there's something wrong. So I don't have a magic stick. So when you look to the back, how many goals was scored before? So numbers are not lying. So I think that has explained himself. In a calendar year, 24, 7 victories. So before I came, 3 victories. So I think we managed that pretty well. So, but I'm not saying that the team doesn't have a quality. The team is very young. The team has good potential. The team, for my opinion, could have gone totally differently. Last week against, we should have scored again the first 20 minutes. Today we should have scored 20 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't know how many. It end up in the entries. Can this team have more entries? What kind of entries we need to have, and what is that what we need to sustain more in the third zone of the opponents? So if things are not on, Chiefs can turn back and find another hole, another window, another door to come in. That's not us, because we're getting more and more anxious because we need those points. And these are young boys that need to... So these are the elements that sometimes it's a bit of a perception what you guys have, but when you check, actually the team is playing, for my opinion, brilliant football. Today, obviously, we have played against the giant guys also. We need to put the ball a little bit on the ground. To get a point here is not everyone's duty.
Coach Muhsin Ertugral, thank you very much. Have a good night, and I'm sure you will take away this point and savor it, and to wish to see you again visiting the Kaizer Chiefs village one day.
No, I need to, because I've promised the chairman to pay a visit. Thanks very much, guys.